Hello and welcome everybody to our second game of the day here at GitGud EU Console Edition. We're in week 4 and now for the back half of this afternoon, morning, or evening, we're going to be having Boosted Boys versus Kybaid. Once again, for your casting entertainment, it's going to be Sir Waltham and Shy Guy. Shy Guy, what do we think about these teams?
I am not going to lie. I don't know anything about these teams, but I think you do a little bit, at least when it comes to Kybaid. So what can you tell me about them?
I do like the Kybaid squad a little bit. From what I remember, my memory has historically been bad. I don't think they necessarily came up quite victorious against their last opponent in Oblivion, as we mentioned, but that doesn't tell us a whole lot because off the back end of the game we just saw with Oblivion, maybe it was a fluke, maybe they're just not rated that highly if Oblivion's getting blown out of the water like they did with Inferno. To be fair, that's not a BM on Oblivion. It was looking pretty rough for them last game, but I don't know. It's hard to say where Kybaid stands in that situation. I think they do have a long ways to work, though, especially since they're coming off that loss. I like the idea of mental, I guess, momentum moving forward, and I think they're gonna have to really work to reset and not let that affect them this game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing with these kind of like season long formats is that it is kind of a little bit of a grind. I mean, this is happening over the course of weeks, which means there's time for teams to kind of adjust and really make changes to things that you were doing wrong, to seeing how your opponents play. I mean, you can change up comps. You can try and alter your strategies a little bit. So maybe Kybaid can come out here today, learn from that loss, as you were talking, and make the necessary adjustments.
Yeah, I'm certainly going to be hoping so. They definitely want to come back strong. But as we look ahead, our next map going to be Nepal. And as we look towards the rosters a little bit, get you guys familiar with some of the names we're going to be seeing on the field today. It looks like 4 Boosted Boys, going to be Manic and Mini, Soul Reaver on those DPS slots, Respect and SF Ninja for the tank positions, and Grigola and Hero Epics on those support slots. Similarly for Kybaid, we have Witty Weeb and OG Hanzo now on those DPS. Michaels and Mongavich on the tanks, and Chemist as well as Kane the Snowman to meet them with that support lineup as we get ready to head into Nepal.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of a change of pace in terms of our starting map. And we started on Lijiang in our first matchup of the day. That tends to be where a lot of teams go. But Nepal, a great place to start as well. One of my favorite control maps, just for the variety that it brings to the table in terms of compositions and what teams can really do. We're starting it off on Village, where you're going to see kind of a lot of those brawl comps, maybe some May making an appearance here, and things will change as we progress.
Yeah, I mean, I like the option for May here on Village. I think it's very suitable, but ready to see what they come out with. Curious to see if OG Hanzo is going to be sticking on Hanzo, or is going to be leaning on Hanzo, not necessarily throughout the whole thing, but just a little bit throughout this series.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. Everybody kind of teasing us right now, I think, with some of these picks in the spawn. Though I would be, excited to see the Ryan Zarya here. It's the OG tank duo in my mind, and on a point like Village, it can definitely find a lot of value. But it has fallen off a little bit as of late in comparison to the double shields that we are seeing on the other side.
Yeah, Sig Ori might be looking a little bit strong here. However, Manic on this Pharah, not a tactic we've seen for the first time today, as that Pharah going to be looking to get in that rapid damage. However, damage is not going to be rapid enough when Witty Weeb just uses that teleporter to get to point. Big Fire Strike from SF Ninja is going to cause a little bit of the backup to come in from the side of Kybaid, who still ready to just get this point flipped. Not a lot of pressure coming in from Boosted Boys just yet. They are going to be looking to step toes onto point, but first cap's initially going to go over to Kybaid, and now there's this enviable position of having to push into the Symmetra, but Manic going to be taking the first pick onto Kane the Snowman, not necessarily watching their back are Kybaid, and they need to be a little bit more careful. However, Kybaid does strike back with a kill onto Manic, and this fight going very slowly, but Kybaid's going to be pretty content with that. They're building up this point progress, Even if they are losing members, you lose the first fight at the cost of 30% or of point capture. You're not going to be the most dissatisfied about that. And finally, it looks like Boosted Boy is going to be getting the courage and resources to get moving forward. But a big anti-nade coming in from Gregolas. And it's going to be landing on 3, helping to take down the OG Hanzo. Michaels having to play a little bit further back as Michaels drops that and gets the signal for the Earth Shatter to go in and absolutely clean up.
Yeah, I mean, that ante was so huge, it kind of eliminated any possibility that Kybaid had of continuing to kind of stick it out in that fight, and they eventually get cleaned up by that Nano Reinhardt coming in from SF Ninja. But 30% right on the dot on the board for Kybaid is not the worst start in the world, but now they are on the back foot and having to push in here. They've got to find a way to get Manic into positions, and how about that?
Yeah, Manic going to be finding that exact position that they needed, dropping those rockets, getting 3 off the back end, and with that, now Boosted Boiis just dovetailing that into an easy team fight.
Yeah, I mean, that one's pretty easy for them when the Pharah gets the triple kill immediately right off the bat, and it works really well to play the Pharah kind of into the Symmetra as the Symmetra's trying to push in. You can really disrupt those teleporter strats with both just straight rockets, the concussion blasts as well.
Kybaid once again going to be looking for a little bit more of a direct route to point. Woody Weeb going to be trying to get aggressive with that sim, but does get punished for it despite that Proton Shield. Not playing behind it might have been a little bit of a misplay. The Sound Barrier going to come out and respond from Chemist, but Respect still holding on to that grab is going to be a big game changer moving forward. As the points gets cleaned up for Kybaid, but an interesting fight moving forward.
Mogovic coming up with the 4K in that fight really clutches it out there for Kybaid. They were in a rough spot at that point. I thought that fight was done and dusted, and we might have just seen the end of Village, but they fight it back, and now they have control. They get the sim set up once again, and Manic now has the task of trying to find these angles in onto the point.
Yeah, but Manic on that first fight able to find them in rather easily, and they're going to be able to eliminate those sentry targets as well. The grab now coming out from Respect, comboed with the rocket barrage, getting 5, and the quick 6 pass onto Michaels.
Unreal, just picture perfect timing there coming out from Respect and Manic. The conch blast to get the Pharah into position is just beautiful, and now we're going to see a bit of a rushed engagement here for Kybaid as they try to save this.
Yeah, overall, Manic still looking to just deal that damage off to the back of Kybaid, deal it out in mass. The High Noon going to be coming out, forcing down that Pharah and out of the sky. And Soldier actually going to be taking it, but nobody can touch Boosted Boiis going to be holding this point. So unfortunate.
I mean, the fight was already starting to get away from them a little bit even after that opening Deadeye pick. They were having to push into the Nano Rhine, which is never really where you want to be. So I'm not sure that fight was going to be winnable for Kybaid in the first place, but still stepping off the point, not what you're looking for. And now they've got to mentally kind of reset after the C9 and try and come into Sanctum here and turn things around.
And curiously enough, I'm hoping Manic actually does run out on this Torbjorn, but I am hesitant. It looks like both of them are going to be going out on the Torb.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a pick that works here on Sanctum for sure. A lot of good sight lines for the Torb, and actually, like, the slight arc that comes in on his shots makes him very good at fighting over here on these stairs. You can kind of lob them up over, get some nice shots in, but OG Hanzo already sucked off the edge.
Now, OG Hanzo going to be taking the arc right off the map, and with that now numbers advantage for Boosted Boiis, they have that turret just laying down that constant fire down the upper lane, and they're going to be using that advantage to push right onto point, knowing that the turret's going to have to be dealt with before they can get contested. And with this, once again, Kybaid gonna now be on the back foot a little bit, but Gregolas going to be taken down, does open things up just a little bit. The backup does come in, but the tanks for Boosted Boiis remain on this point. However, Woody Weeb going to be able to pry those headshots in, really deal that damage. The leveling does come back just a bit, but it's not enough for Boosted Boiis to really hold this point.
And like I get the idea from Boosted Boys, rotate to the point quickly, you get the opening pick and you have kind of control of the fight, but they just cede all control of the high ground, the most crucial kind of position on this map, and it just made Boosted Boys able to slowly whittle them down.
Yeah, we'll see if it's going to be a similar strategy coming out from them this time, as now they are gonna be looking to move towards that high ground. The amplification matrix going to be coming out, taking down that turret, but so far that's the only thing that's been taken down. Bob forces out the immortality field as the Zenyatta does take him down. But moving forward, this is looking very slow for the Boosted Boys. They're not really getting too much done. That is until Gregolis lands those shots onto that Sigma. A big accretion on the Chemist takes down that Lucio, not able to contest. Once again, the ult onto OG Hanzo. He's got to be hating this pit right now, Shaggy.
Yeah, he's having a bad time right now, and Boosted Boys come back in strong there on the retake, are able to do it without having to commit much, just that amp matrix from Hero Epics, and they continue to build up this percentage. A very back and forth affair so far here on Sanctum, but now Kybaid needs to come in and get aggressive.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to be using the amplification window, but the response with the Molten Core coming in means that Manic has essentially pushed back the assault of Kybaid. They're going to have to be a little bit hesitant about pushing ahead. In fact, Michael's even getting punished for pushing back. The Torbjorn Magma landed right behind that main tank, tried to backstep, but walked right into it. And now Kybaid in a little bit of a disadvantage, but Witty Weave going to be looking to level out with this Bob. And now it's going to be OG Hanzo's turn to drop that Molten Core. Going to be finding a little bit of benefit with it, but the Transcendence going to be coming out from Gregolis to mitigate both the Gravitic Flux as well as that Torbjorn Molten Core. And with that, it looks like Kybaid still managed to pull the teeth of the boys here.
And once again, we've seen it so far through this map. To me, it feels like Boosted Boys are almost paying too much attention to the point. They send Respect over there to try and fight it out on the point, but he just gets poked down from long range, and losing the Sigma early like that was really crushing for them. I'd like to see them try and focus more on these fights rather than trying to play the objective, because ultimately you got to be winning the engagements.
When Supercharger's going to be coming out, the Amplification Matrix, however, also going to be matched by Hero Epics. K not able to drop and match, so that means that the shields for the side of Kybaid going to be a little bit more vulnerable, but the Hulk coming in pulls both the tanks off that high ground. SF Ninja absolutely performing perfectly there, and with that, Boosted Boys now going to have an easy opportunity to get on the point, going to capture it, reverse it, and now the tick-up's all theirs.
And there's no way for anyone to get in here for a touch. I mean, Michaels maybe gets back on the Wrecking Ball if they can't stop him, but the stuns are there, the lockup is there, and Boosted Boys come away with Paul.
Yeah, and perhaps what I think the most important play there was Manic got the Torbjorn hammer kill at the very back end onto his opposing Torbjorn, so I think that's really what stirred up the game here for Boosted Boys. A little bit sarcastic there, but as we head into this play of the game, of course, it's going to be the 6-man with the finish onto the Orisa from Manic when we saw back on Village.
I mean, you can't script it any better than that for Manic and Respect on the combo, and Boosted Boys looking quite strong so far to start out, but Kybaid still plenty of time to turn this series around. We're going to be going to their map pick next, and they'll have to try and find some answers. Boosted Boys were just a little bit stronger kind of all around there on Nepal, it felt like.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think we saw a lot of cool plays come out from, it felt like every single member of the Boosted Boys. We saw, some big hammer kills. We saw some Pharah play. We saw the big grab, as well as just all around the board. The huge halt pull coming in from Ori, played by SF Ninja. A lot of crucial plays coming in for Boosted Boys. It feels like this team really gives everybody the chance to pop off.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even the supports. I mean, Gregolas had I remember a really nice anti-nade in that first fight on Village to kind of kick things off for them. And yeah, I think we're seeing a real team effort out of them so far. And Kybaid now kind of looking for answers. They're going to take us to Route 66 for their map pick, and this is an issue. This is a map I feel like I just haven't seen Route 66 played in quite some time. I mean, I don't really know what the reason for that is, but I'm excited to see it again.
This is pure theory crafting here, Shy Guy, so hang in with me.
Let's go.
I'm going to say it's because the DPS players don't want to play it because it's not as sniper-esque of a map. I'm going to say that the DPS player Cabal is just putting forward that Junkertown's always going to be the escort map.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, I've seen a lot of Junkertown, a lot of like Gibraltar recently, so everybody wants to have kind of the ability to pop off on those snipers, and Route 66 definitely bottles you up a little bit more in that regard. So we'll see if that is going to be the answer here for Kybaid. Is we say the snipers don't really work here, but Hanzo definitely has some potential, and at some point in this series, I'm gonna need to see OG Hanzo pick it up.
I certainly hope so. We saw them a lot on the hit scans earlier, so I'm hoping that name's not just a total misplay.
Bait and switch, yeah.
But I don't know. I think that Route 66 is going to give Kybaid the opportunity to kind of reveal, what they're really made of here. Once again, this map, I don't know if I mentioned for Escort, but neither of the teams preferred picks. So both of them were looking to play Rialto. But after seeing the performance of Manic on that Pharah, I can absolutely see why you wouldn't pick Rialto.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I mean, definitely hard to shut down. It's possible on Route 66. I've seen people do it before in the distant past. I'm not sure that it'll actually come out here. Echo, another one that I think actually works quite well on this map in general. The mobility that you have to access all of the various high grounds that are on this map and really put a lot of pressure on teams, I think is fantastic. I don't know how much Echo is really being played in the console scene right now. I mean, Pharah obviously incredibly powerful at the moment, but I don't know where Echo kind of fits into the meta there.
Yeah, absolutely. Curious. I don't think I've seen an Echo played on Route 66, at least for a while. A note for those of you at home, the teams are going to be switching sides, so it will be Kybaid. Kybaid is still going to be on the attack on red. I guess I misread that somehow. But we're going to be seeing no substitutions, I believe. And with that, it looks like we are just waiting for the teams to get ready before we head into this game. Shy Guy, what do you think we're going to see in terms of tanks as we move forward?
I mean, I'd be kind of lying if I said anything other than Orisa Sigma at this point. I mean, everybody seems to have gotten on board with that as the dominant tank duo right now. The synergy between them, it obviously just makes so much sense. The Halt, I think, is maybe the most important ability in the entire game right now in terms of like what it enables for the rest of the team. And Sigma is just such a natural fit alongside Orisa that yes, you can go for different strategies on different points. I mean, once we get into that final section of Route 66, I could see a Reinhardt coming out, but through the first two stages, if you're doing anything other than Orisa Sigma, it will come as a bit of a shock.
Yeah, and I think especially for the side of boosted, you're content to stick on the Orisa Sigma. We saw some excellent plays coming in from those two. I think the Sigma play was probably a little bit more favorable in terms of just raw mechanics from Kybaid, but the synergies and just the overall utility coming in from boosted Boiis, especially on that main tank role with the Orisa, looked really good. So I think we're at a little bit of a competition here to which tank lineup can be more dominant. I would like to see more synergy between the two, more combinations with those halts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Kybaid had some great individual moments. I mean, Mongovic, I thought was quite good on the Sigma, especially there on Village was really popping off at times. And that's part of the reason why Sigma is so popular right now is he can be a little bit of a freelancer as well. He can take those off angles. He can put in insane amounts of damage if you're landing those hyperspheres. So an opportunity for Mongovic to continue kind of asserting himself in this series as we do indeed have that kind of standard tank matchup. But Wee breaking out the Genji here. This is a first for this series, and I'm excited to see what he can do with it. But Manic on the other side with that Torb is going to be a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah, that Torb going to be able to lock down that Genji, especially if he gets the shots off with the Rivet Gun. That turret going to lock onto whatever the Torbjorn deems an appropriate target. But Witty Weave taking a little bit of the longer route, going to be taking his time to really get set up. And now that that turret's down, might be looking to dive right up in there. Doesn't seem like the defense really aware of his existence too immediately. Does force out the deflect from him, but not too much. Gets pulled in an uncomfortable position, and SF Ninja, again, with the halt on the spot, able to just capitalize. But it hasn't really stopped the cart from moving, Shy Guy.
Yeah, but now they've got the distinct advantage in this fight. Now they take the engagement on the low ground, pushing in aggressively with Soul Reaver still up here, laying in pretty easy shots, but no kills coming through just yet.
Surprisingly, we haven't seen too many big anti-nades just yet. It does go on to both the tanks. Ooh. Respect brought down because of it. And Witty Weave going to be cleaning up with that, diving into that line.
Yeah, I mean, Kybaid, they hang on through that extended fight, even without their Genji. They hold on long enough for Witty Weave to get back in there, and he just pops off. He comes in on the flank, and Boosted Boys have no idea what hit him.
Yeah, it was looking pretty good so far, but Boosted Boys quick to get regrouped and quick to get back up onto this high ground. The halt's coming out, but the synergy's not quite there. Both accretions don't quite seem to land. Witty Weave has this Dragon Blade out, but he's going to be going up against Soul Reaper and Manic, both very good against that Genji dive. And if they're able to really pry that damage into him early, we'll have to see where that value lies. The Genji Blade going to be coming out. Witty Weave gets stunned down. It's going to be chased off by the Torbjorn, as I mentioned, gets a few slices in, but it looks like Michael's going to be the one the Nano goes on to. Boosted Boys are going to be investing that Molten Core. Not really finding too much with it, just zoning out the cart a little bit, but may have been unnecessary considering it looks like this fight was already pretty good for them. As soon as they get the cleanup onto Mongovich, it looks like this is going to be it for them.
Yeah, I don't hate that commitment there. It really stops any opportunity that Kybaid would have had to keep that push going, even after the failed Nano Blade. But, you know, it's one less tool that Boosted Boys are going to have as they continue this defense. But now they're in kind of a phase of the map where I think they'll really excel with their comp. They can spread out really well, get people on these off angles, and that can be very deadly.
They can. OG Hanzo going to have Bob ready to run right up onto point. Tries to coach gun out of the grab. Flux instead going to be the only person caught out. Witty Weave gets taken down by Mini Soul Reaver. That's just the risk you get when you play Genji. But with this, it looks like the offense now going to be pretty strong. They're going to be getting some point progress moving up, and now they're going to be pushing forward with their advantage. Both tanks pushing up on Gregolis with that Brig. Tries to evade damage, but not able to. And with that, it looks like Kybaid have their hands on the second point.
And they're just going to be able to walk it all the way in. No real shot at a recontest here for Boosted Boys. I don't think they might try to make an effort of it, but it's probably not going to be very successful.
Yeah, in fact, they're going to be going for it here. Greg getting forced out, has to shield up and back into the tunnels, not able to provide their team with the support, but that's probably okay. It looks like they lost that point anyway. Really kill onto the Ashe, though, might help them regain composure.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, OG Hanzo going to respawn very quickly. The cart right there by the spawns as well. So no real loss there for Kybaid, as now they got an insane time bank to work with. 4 minutes remaining, and now they've got this supercharger. We'll see if they can make something out of it, as they might just be trading those Orisa ultimates.
Looks like Boosted Boy's going to be dropping the supercharger, but not so much from the side of Kybaid. The chase now comes in. Michael's going to be taken down before those drums come out, and now Boosted Boys on the defense have a hold.
Yeah, they've got control of this corner, which is such an important section of King's Row here. So I like the aggressive retake coming through to get some space for this team to work with, give Manic a lot of room. But here's the Nano Blade.
Whitney's going to be coming out, ripping and tearing through this. Soul Reaver the first to get caught out, and now it looks like that was pretty much all that was needed to invest into this fight. Kybaid continues the progress.
Yeah, that's beautiful for them. Now that they're just one fight away from being able to close out this attack round, and they've still got some pretty big ults in their back pocket with that gravitic flux ready to go.
Yeah, the rally does come out from Greg to bring their team back up to that full health. Immortality Field gets brought out early, but Mini Soul Reaver using that high ground of the Gravitic Flux to really get that damage in onto Sigma and company. With that, the Sigma might have sealed his own team's death warrant.
Yeah, congratulations, Mongovich. You played yourself. Lifting him up in the air, setting him up for that insane Deadeye. And, that's big for Boosted Boys. They needed to win that fight, obviously, to keep this defense going, but to get those ultimates out of Kybaid as well is absolutely massive.
We'll see if Kybaid can make it work this time around. Respect going to be dropping the Grav Flux just to force out the Immortality Field as well. And now the Amplification window coming out from the offense to really deal that damage. Immortality Field falls for both sides now, as there's not going to be much in terms of ultimates leaning forward into the rest of this fight. It's going to come down to pure mechanics. The Halt coming in almost locks down Witty Weave again, but they have to deflect online and ready to deal with any damage. However, the same can't be said for Kane as they eat rocks, and right now it's not looking great for the attack, who decide that they just want to back out and get away.
Indeed, and once you get into these brawling situations, that's where the Brig from Gregolas is really going to come online, become very powerful, and let the team just kind of slowly push forward, get ahead of those shields from Kybaid, and they're ultimately able to get the pick into the back line. So they're doing much better on this third point defense, but they've still got a ways to go.
Yeah, Mini Soul Reaver going to be the first step of many to get that capitalization going. Anti-nade comes out from Kane, doesn't land on anything. And now we need to watch as we see both Genjis have those blades online. Kane trying so quickly to build up that last few percentage to get that Genji to blade. The blade comes out from both sides. Manic dashing in with that armor. However, the nano going on to Witty doesn't find as much value. It looks like they do get a few kills, but with defender advantage, it's not going to be enough.
No, and I mean, even with the nano, you see just how hard it is to get value out of the blade right now, especially when you see all the kind of CC that is available on the other side. With the flashbang from Soul Reaver, you got the stuns coming in from Gregolas, the accretions from Spect. I mean, you've got to execute pretty much perfectly if you're Witty Weave, and that is easier said than done.
And as we look forward now, the Grav Flux from Mongovich gonna have nothing but the Immortality Field really to deal with it. We'll see if that Immortality Field can get forced out early. It looks like no, it won't be, but the Supercharger coming out. Soul Reaver once again trying to drop the high noon with the Grav Flux, Gravitic Flux, but it's not gonna be coming through. Now the attackers are finding the purchase they need. As they move forward, that card's gonna just gently slide into that first point. Not if Manic has anything to say about it though. Gonna be dashing in, trying to get that damage, just buy out a little bit of stall. Gregolas there to buy some sort of time. Manic trying to find something with the blade, gets burned down instead, and the Baptiste actually receiving the nano boost. A little bit curious, may have been a misclick, but slowly but surely it looks like Boosted Boys might be able to pull it back here. They're already in overtime. All they need to do is clear off the point, but no such luck.
Kybaid going to be the ones finishing the fight. They have the massive kind of numbers advantage at that point, and I want to give a quick kind of nod over to the Ana there for Kybaid. I believe it was Kane the Snowman playing that at that point, but hit a huge anti-nade coming into or in the midst of that final fight, able to take out Gregolas before he's able to get that rally online. With that extra armor, maybe Boosted Boys could sustain through that fight. The blade might have gotten a little bit more, but the shutdown comes through, and Kybaid able to close out that attack.
So far, Kybaid looking good, looking like they're ready to swing back after Nepal, which is exactly what they needed there. They need to kind of have a little bit of a strike back of their own, wouldn't you say, Shy Guy?
Oh, for sure. I mean, now the pressure is removed a little bit from Kybaid. They're able to finish out the map. Worst case scenario at this point, you get an extra attack here, even if you get steamrolled on this defense. But they looked very solid throughout there, just consistent performance. They're making good use of their ultimates. Witty Weave had some great moments with the Genji breaking out the nano blades, and we'll see if they can keep that going here, as we're gonna see not quite mirror matchups. We got the Ashe versus McCree. It's the Deadlock Gang matchup here for the hit scan DPS.
Certainly like that concept here. Also going to be seeing the Brig versus the Ana. Kayn finding some value with these anti-nades. They might be looking for it again. And now the Hulk's trying to come in. Not a whole lot of setup getting successful for either of these teams. But Witty Weeb already leading a little bit in the Genji ult charge. But these double shields prove to be a burden to have to break through, especially with these accretion, or the Hulks trying to come in, not really finding too much. However, there is half the team of Boosted Boys trying to take this high ground. A little bit of a split push here. Another big Halt, this time high up into the air. Again, not able to find anything, but the anti-nade onto Soul Reaver and Gregolaf makes them easy to clean up by Witty Weeb. You love seeing that value. Kayn finding it once again. Manic trying their best to make something, shake it around a little bit, but not going to be able to find too much. However, Kybaid does succeed here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of the danger of that splish push. Yes, it gives you these kind of alternate angles, but, you know, there's only so much shielding that Respect can do as the Sigma in that situation. And, you know, Kayn the Snowman able to just kind of land a pixel-perfect grenade there. Winds up with the double kill for Witty Weeb, and a solid first defense there for Kybaid.
It's certainly going to be looking good for them so far. However, the pressure coming out, Respect takes an early anti-nade. But it doesn't look like they're going to be punished too egregiously for it. They do have that kinetic grasp online. The gravitic flux coming in now for Mongovic, trying to find something. In fact, it does find their kill onto Respect, who had a grab flux of their own. Witty Weeb pulling out the blade, but gets stunned out by Gregolas, not going to be able to find it. Now Manic does have the blade of their own, going to be not quite finding it, anything with it. This fight's going so back and forth here, Shy Guy, but it looks like Kybaid a little bit on the back foot, as it's just Mongovic along with a few supports trying to keep him up.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to clutch this one out, but slowly getting swarmed and focused down. But now Witty Weeb back into the fight. They've got an opportunity to turn this.
Yeah, but Respect does drop that Gravitic Flux mini Soul Reaver, going to be throwing in that high noon to pick out those targets out of the sky nice and easy. Rolling in to get these kills with the Peacekeeper. As the cleanup comes in, Boosted Boys finally get that first point cap.
Ooh, that was close though. They really had to work for it there to close out that fight. You know, having to commit the supercharger there late in the engagement is a little bit of a setback considering the advantages they had, but still, you know, Kybaid takes some time off the clock here, and now they'll get to set themselves up for a point B defense where they've got the supercharger coming in, got Mongo with that gravitic flux. So we'll see if they can retake control.
Yeah, the Halt going out, going to be landing onto mostly just Witty Weeb, who does take a bit of damage but able to get healed up in quick fashion by that Ana. With just the grab flux now coming in from Mongovic, Gregola is going to be responding with the rally. Really only SF Ninja that gets caught has that Fortify up, but not quite in time. Witty Weeb going to be cleaning up off the back end. Soul Reaver getting cut in half with one of those quick strikes from Genji. And now this fight breaking out a little bit, but Mana going to be diving into the backline trying to find it, but it doesn't look like it's enough. Boosted Boys has their front line picked off in quick fashion, and now the late blade coming in from Witty Weeb.
Yeah, that's a couple of questionable blades there. Manic breaks his out when he is surrounded by enemies. He is not going to be able to get anything done at that situation, even with the nano boost, I think. Or actually didn't have the nano boost because Grego just switched over to the Ana instead. So, yeah, a couple of, you know, kind of wasted blades there, but everybody even coming into this next fight.
And SF Ninja having used that Fortify and really get to a less than ideal spot just to get that healing coming in. Hero Epics gets pulled out as that Baptiste when they were trying to do a rotation. This is now a very crucial spot for the Boosted Boys to get out of, because there's just a few of them located on that high ground. They're going to be open for the picking. However, Kayn the Snowman equally as open. Manic going to be taken out with the Genji, and right now Boosted Boys just picked apart.
And I mean, that's just the reality. They had to try and, you know, cross a pretty wide gap there, getting across the street, and they're trying to push into the Amp Matrix from Road Warrior. So really a tough situation there for Boosted Boys indeed, but they'll be coming back in with a lot of ultimates on their side. The Amp Matrix of their own, Nano and Flux about to be ready.
And they'll certainly be looking for it. The Bob going to be coming out to initiate. Mongovic has to put the shield up, but can't block against the Bob for that exact reason. Manic going to be getting that late finish kill onto the Sigma. Now Bob dealt with mostly by the Ori shield, but the opening is here for Boosted Boys as Kybaid on the back foot and looking to retreat. However, it looks like Road Warrior taking an accretion. That's going to be painful.
Yeah, but he gets out. So, like,
yeah.
This is okay for Kybaid. They lose those couple of picks, but they were holding so far forward. The cart had rolled back a little bit that they've got plenty of time to regroup and get back out here.
Yeah, and Witty Weave going to be diving into a mini Soul Reaver, trying to find that kill onto the Ashe, but instead just going to be pulling out the blade, going big for it. The target focus does not seem to be here from Witty Weave as they get focused down and forced to use that deflect. Kybaid's going to hold it here, but really not because of Witty Weave.
No, not at all. I mean, that's all Mongovich with the gravitic flux there. It all works out for them in the end, but look at everything that's about to be online for Boosted Boys. Yes, this is their last attempt here on the point B attack, but they've got pretty much everything you could ever ask for. Only Bob gonna be missing from this fight, and OG Hanzo gonna make up for it with his own.
Yeah, Supercharger gonna be coming out. Mana gonna be looking to build up that Genji blade as quick as possibly. Gonna be getting the nano boost on top of it, but just waiting on that last 1% ult charge. Goes in, dives deep, and gets 3 off the back end. Looking for the final kill onto Mongovich. Their sworn enemy at this point. Gonna not quite be finding it, but it's gonna give them enough time to get the cart moving again.
And there you see kind of why the Genji and the Sigma is actually such a great duo right now. Respect forces out the immortality field with that gravitic flux, and then there's just no answer at that point for the nano blade coming in from Manic unless Kane can hit just an insane sleep at that point. There's really no coming back.
Only a few pushes left for the side of Boosted Boys. They need to find that value. They need to get this moving rather forward. But they're not going to be having too many ults to do it with. The amplification window going to be coming in. A very curious amplification window. Doesn't seem like Boosted Boys are really able to utilize it too much. They have to take a rather long rotation, push them a little bit more at risk. But once they get into position, they're going to find the absolute capitalization with that. Manic does get taken down. That Genji not able to build up that blade. Same can be said for Witty Weave, however, as we get moving forward. Boosted Boys now going to be looking to take down this long lane of sight with Mini Soul Reaver on the Ashe. Trying to build up again back to that Bob might be crucial in the coming fights if they're able to get him back online.
Could be, but the pick there is going to be big. Soul Reaver on the off angle all alone gets taken out by his opposite number.
Yeah, Witty Weave and Kane the Snowman gonna be having that combo up online here soon. Just looking for Kane to get those last few points of ultimate, and the time bank is low enough that this could be the final nail in the coffin. Gonna be looking to drop it. Looks like OG Hanzo gonna be having Bob online as well. The blade comes out, the nano goes out, but not on the Witty Weave, it goes on to Mongovich instead, who gets a double with the gravitic flux. OG Hanzo there with the quick cleanup on the Ashe. Gonna be throwing Bob in as well just to provide a little bit more damage, lay down the law just a little bit, and with that, it looks like the hold comes in here from Kybaid. That is, except for these last 2 points of contest, Mini Soul Reaver coming in just a touch, but will get punished and taken down. Questionable if anybody's going to be able to make it happen here for the side of Boosted Boys. The Grab Flux tries to make it go, but Respect can only do so much as the lone Sigma. Witty Weave getting taken down helps level the field for Boosted Boys just a bit, but it might not be enough. Respect again on the Sigma, having to play an uphill battle.
This isn't over though.
It's certainly not over.
I mean, Respect's doing work on this Sigma, finds the kill on the Mongovich. This is happening.
It's happening, and it's happening good. Mini Soul Reaver gonna be now on the Doomfist. Respect taking down 2. It was looking so good, but the kills now come through. Respect being the absolute tank and DPS that his team needs him to right now. Might have just helped the team. The blade gonna now be coming out from Manic. Misses the sleep dart from Kane, but Kane able to walk away. Manic has to get cleaned up just to take down that Ana, and that may have been so crucial here. Mongovich coming in on the Winston just to increase those health pools. Now the Sigma Grab Flux coming in. This is a giant cluster of a mess here, Shy Guy, but it looks like Boosted Boys have managed to hold it down for now.
Respect is still standing tall on the cart somehow. The nano in onto Witty Weave. Can he get the last little bit of this blade?
Witty Weave gets hit by the accretion. Rock is so dangerously low. Less than 100 points gets taken down by Respect. This might be it. This is looking so good for the Boosted Boys, but they don't quite have enough. Respect not able to deal with the Winston damage coming in, and with that, it looks like finally Kybaid have what it takes. Overtime's gonna burn down, and after an incredibly long last fight, Kybaid takes it and levels it out 1-1.
That was just insane. I mean, that should have been over. That should have been done with. But Respect claws it back for Boosted Boiis. Cannot quite pull it off. But what an effort there. I mean, you got to give a lot of, well, I was going to say respect, no pun intended there. But yeah, that was a sight to see. And, Kybaid coming up big in that second map. They tie things up, and now we've got a series.
Yeah, I think respect definitely earning their spot on the team with that. I like the concept of bringing in the Doomfist, especially when you know that the Genji's going to be so close to that blade. Just wasn't quite able to deal with the targets that they needed to early enough, and because of that, it felt like the offense really petered out, especially with those long walkbacks.
Yeah, I mean that was ultimately what kind of sealed the deal there for Kybaid is just the fact that they've got the closer spawns. That's what it comes down to a lot of the time in those chaotic overtime fights, to be sure. But yeah, Boosted Boiis, they make them work for it all the way there on Route 66. But Kybaid come up with the win on their map pick, and now things kind of swing back in the other direction as Boosted Boiis get to dictate the rest, or the next map at least. Is we are going to head to Hollywood, it looks like.
Hollywood, very interesting here as I take a look. Looks like that is the favorite map of the Boosted Boiis.
There we
Kybaid
go.
obviously going to be preferring the King's Row, but obviously not in their choice. So, it makes sense for Boosted Boiis to pick this. A comfort map, comfort pick. You want to get back into the swing of it.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting to me now because at least they're on Route 66, but these teams playing largely similar comps. We saw some adaptations in terms of like what hit scan DPS were you running, what's kind of second support were you running alongside the Batiste, but still we've got a very interesting matchup on our hands, and I don't feel like either team really has kind of a solid grip or a solid advantage so far, as these two teams seem very evenly matched.
Yeah, I liked what we've been seeing out of both of these teams so far. I think that Route 66 was one of the most competitive games I've seen in this console scene so far. It it went back and forth, especially on that last fight. It was a nail biter. I know I at least lost like 25% of my voice just trying to keep up with all the action that was going there. But these teams definitely not willing to let each other get the advantage on themselves.
No, and right now I'm loving just all of the like head-to-head matchups that we're seeing so far in this series. I mean, there on Route 66, Manic and Woody Weeb, they both had their fair share of kind of great moments. I mean, Woody Weeb came up clutch there at the very end, getting the nano, pulling out the blade as well. But they both also kind of had some flubs throughout that. So we're seeing some flaws from these teams, and it makes it that much more interesting. The one position where I don't think we've seen a lot of mistakes has been that Sigma. I think Respect and Mongovich have both just been lights out so far in the series.
Yeah, I certainly am liking it. The tank lineups I think are so far my favorite part of this game. So I think that's something we're gonna have to keep eyes peeled for. I also like Kane the Snowman on that Ana. I feel like that's a pick that we see them consistently come through with in terms of selection, and then also in terms of performance. It seems like they're reliably getting those biotic nades that really do a lot of that anti healing on the opposing team pretty consistently.
Yeah, for sure. It's giving Witty Weeb a lot of opportunities to go in and kind of clean up kills. So that has been really good for Kybaid so far. That right there, that choice especially is really interesting to me. Whether you run the Ana or like Boosted Boiis did, running the Brig a lot of the time with Gregolas. I think it makes for a very interesting kind of discussion. Is do you focus on like enabling the Genji with those nano blades, or do you focus on shutting him down with the stuns that the Brigitte provides, and kind of more overall team fight presence?
Yeah, that's exactly the way I would have put it. That's exactly how I was thinking about it. But it's unfortunate, right? Because you could say that Brigitte, back in the day when she could overheal Genji with just the single repair pack, it kind of had the best of both worlds. It gave
Right.
Genji that resistance, minus the damage, but still, you could also rally on top of that, I believe, for what was it, 150 or something
Yeah,
like that
you
armor
could just
stack?
turn Genji into a tank basically,
Yeah.
and you can't quite pull off the same shenanigans anymore without that overhill on the repair packs. But still, there was a time, at least when Brigitte was first released, where she was like the hero that shut down all of the flankers.
Yeah.
You were an idiot for trying to play Genji or Tracer into the Brigitte, but nowadays that has shifted a little bit as her reworks have come through, and she might not quite enable Genji the same way she did a few weeks ago, but still definitely some synergy there, and both very powerful picks in the meta right
Yeah, I certainly have to agree. Now Brig doesn't have the capability to kill a Genji or a Tracer all on her own. She
now.
just gives the team enough time to respond with the shield bash, perhaps with something like a whip shot if she's able to, get that distance separating the flanker characters. But as we look on to Hollywood, I'm curious, Shy Guy, do you think we're going to be looking at a cafe-style hold here, a good old-fashioned cafe bunker?
I think teams have started to go away from that in general.
Mhm.
It's not something that I think we see a whole lot of anymore, just because I think putting yourself in that position, it leaves you open to kind of the dynamites that we've been seeing come out from Ash for sure. All grouping up like that is, I think, a little bit foolish at times, but it definitely has a place if you set up right for it. But I think more than anything, you want to be kind of playing out in the open, especially if we continue seeing these Genjis from both sides. It definitely, I don't think, lends itself to the cafe hole.
Yeah, I would certainly agree. I like the Torbjorn. I like the potential for hammer kills. I remember, way back, I think it was, either the beginning of the year or, end of last year, where you would see that pretty consistently. There are a couple of teams that still ring true that I can think of that performed that way in the tier 3 scene. But now I definitely see your point. And with Genji being able to get all that damage through those dashes, I can see why you'd want a team that's a little bit more spread out. Looks like we're having a little bit of lobby issues, so we're going to be taking it back to a little bit of the back to the lobby. So I believe we're going to be having a little bit of a hold here.
Yeah, we'll be getting into game in just a moment, as I think we need to maybe swap sides or something like that. Not sure exactly what the delay is here, but that's just fine. We'll be getting underway in a moment, as Boosted Boys trying to get back on track here. They couldn't quite come up with the win there on Route 66, but now Hollywood is going to give them another opportunity, as they look to be coming out on the defense to start us off.
Yeah, and an interesting change I didn't notice until just now, Shy Guy. Looks like Mongovic going to be taken out for Ace Kebab.
Mm,
I don't know. I really liked Mongovic. I wonder
yeah.
if that signals that they're going to do something other than a Sig Ori hold.
Yeah, I mean, they're also taking out Road Warrior as well, bringing Chemist back into the lineup. He was playing the Lucio, at least that I remember, on Nepal. So that's something that might be in the cards here for Kybaid. Maybe they're trying to go for something more like a brawl comp that we haven't really seen a ton of from them so far. So that's a potential possibility here for them, but. We'll see in just a little bit what Boosted Boys are going to roll out with on the deep. We got baited into game last time a little bit, and they flashed the dive comp they were rolling out with the Winston and Diva, which seems strange. I can't
Yeah.
imagine that is actually what they're going to go for, at least here on point A of Hollywood.
Yeah, I'd be a little surprised if we saw that on the defense. But
But they're doing it.
yeah, we don't know the strats these teams have coming out here, and I'm curious. I'm wondering if Boosted Boys have seen how good Genji is, and they're trying their best to build a comp that kind of complements that. Of course, Soul Reaper going to still be on the Ash to deal that damage at long range, but what do you think the thought process is here, Shy Guy?
To be honest, I'm really a little bit perplexed, given how good I think they've been at times playing that Orisa Sigma. Like, I have to imagine it's kind of in anticipation for getting onto that second point, because I really think the dive is going to have a hard time here, especially on the defense. Like, I don't know how you dive into Kybaid with the comp that they're rolling out with, and there it is, OG Hanzo. He's making my dreams come true.
Yeah, it's going to be both the Shimada brothers coming out onto the field for the attacking Kybaid. And with that, they kind of instinctively turn towards the cafe, but not a lot of pressure on the cafe. Not a lot of presence in the cafe, rather, for the side of Boosted Boys. It's going to be SF Ninja jumping up onto that high ground, has to give that space back up, and pretty much for free, Kybaid now has office space, high-rise levels here. The Halt Accretion trying to come in, get those early stun outs, even the early kills, but the point pressure not coming out from Kybaid. They're being a little bit reserved. I think that seems to be wise as they come in and really try to get those picks secured first. And now they're going to be rotating onto the point sans picks. And with this, Hanzo and Genji not really seeming to find too much. OG Hanzo trying to just pop up onto that cafe. The Dynamite coming in from Mini Soul Reaper provides a lot of damage, but Witty Weave proving to be the dominant Genji in this fight, building up to that Dragon Blade rather quickly. And now with this, Kybaid looking so good for this fight. It took them a while to get there, but they finally did, Shy Guy.
I mean, they just pin Boosted Boys back into the cafe pretty much completely. I mean, Respect, the only one really able to poke his head out at all there. Manic, as soon as he tries to do it, gets shut down, and that's an easy point A for Kybaid. Is here is where the comp for Boosted Boys needs to come online. They've got to control these high grounds and really make use of this streets phase and all the value that the dive can get here. They kind of gave up point A more or less for free, but now's the time they got to buckle down.
Yeah, however, the Dragon Blade is going to be online from Witty Weeb and Kane the Snowman. We've seen these Dragon Blades be a little bit questionable across the board, so I'm looking forward to seeing how Witty Weeb positions themselves to really get this value. The Nano Blade going to be coming out. It lands onto Witty Weeb, gets 3 in 1 slash. However, Manic going to be left to their own devices on their own team as well. Going to be getting 2 off the back end. And with that, it looks like Witty Weeb, with 1 shot, pretty much helped win this fight for their team.
Yeah, I mean, that's just exactly what you're looking for with that Nano Blade. Drop it right in from the top onto the halted up members of Boosted Boys. So, Kybaid, keep the momentum rolling.
Yeah, Gregolas going to be on that Ana. Not sure if the switch just came through. I believe they're not going to be having that nano boost anymore. SF Ninja popping that primal just to buy a lot of time. The rally, in short, from Chemist means that a lot of damage is going to be mitigated through that reduced damage resistance, or that increased damage resistance. Witty Weeb takes down Bob Soul Reaper, buying a little bit of time and space, but not quite enough. As we see now this next round of ults getting set up, it's going to be up to Manic to try to find something with the blade, but they might not need to, as that opening from Respect did ensure that the Ana gets taken down. No more support now for the side of Boosted Boys. They can get picked up, I'm sorry, for the side of Kybaid, they're going to get picked up a little bit here and pushed all the way back to their spawn.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just a slight misposition there from Kane. Doesn't quite get in front of the Orisa shield, or, you know, to avoid that self-destruct coming in from Respect. And then as soon as the Ana is gone, it's really a pretty easy cleanup. Chemist had no shield at that point, so more or less pretty simple for Manic to come away with the kill. And now he's got the blade ready to go. But, you know, Witty Weeb gonna be there to match.
Yeah, Witty Weeb does have the blade. As we look, the OG Hanzo going to be having those Storm Dragons online. I'm looking to see if Respect can eat those, mitigate that ultimate. But Respect getting caught up in the grab flux. Respect does eat the dragons. Absolutely crucial that the Shimada brothers not able to get those ults off in tandem. Witty Weeb gonna go for the dash, gets only Mini Soul Reaver, gets the heals up and is able to recover, and now recontests that high ground, but SF Ninja gets hit with a sleep dart, then an anti-nade. Manic there to back them up, however, as that blade comes out of their own. Goes for the Brig, clinching them twice, but not quite closing the kill with it. And Boosted Boys trying their best. The nano boost going to be going on to SF Ninja as well. These nano boosts have seemed a little peculiar to me, Shy Guy.
Yeah, definitely. That one, you know, they don't even actually make the swap either. Like, it's not like he goes over to a different hero here or anything like that, but Witty Weeb is going to be changing things up. Kybaid across the board making some swaps here with the Roadhog coming in from Ace Kebab. I mean, this is a look I haven't really seen a lot of in recent times, but the Halt Hook, always a classic combo, and against the dive, I think it works quite well, actually.
Yeah, Kybaid going to be taking a little bit of the trip to the museum with the Yoink and Oink coming out right here. However, a lot of space now being given up to Kybaid. They're allowed to move that cart forward, but it may have all been a trap as that Diva Bomb comes in. Doesn't net too much, but the dive now from the Winston comes in. Soul Reaver taking down Chemist. That is a crucial aspect in getting rid of that dive. And with this now, the Primal Rage going to be invested just to secure and space out that Ana from the rest of her team. Getting focused down, SF Ninja now going to be just using that Primal Rage to get back.
And on some level, I think Kybaid needs to kind of rotate up to the high ground. They need to make use of these elevators, because I don't think you can just let Boosted Boys sit up here uncontested for free, timing their dives whenever they want. Like, it just makes it a little bit too easy in my mind.
30 seconds.
I mean, that dive's so powerful from that high ground. I don't think we've seen a whole lot of synergy come in from Michaels and Ace Kebab. Really looking forward to that. Ace Kebab does get the hook onto the Winston, though. SF Ninja take it down so rapidly. That is crucial. But the big anti-nade coming in from Gregalas. Gonna be ensuring that this fight goes a little bit more towards the favor of Boosted Boys. The High Noon coming in. Manic gonna be slicing them down. In the meantime, though, Respect just absolutely shoving that defense matrix into their face. And now it looks like Boosted Boys might have the opportunity here. They can need to cling it back just a little bit. Manic taking down Kane the Snowman on that Ana. This is looking so good. And with that, overtime does begin to tick down. And with it, Boosted Boys finally hold here, second point.
I mean, I was a little bit concerned about Boosted Boys coming out in the dive to start off this map, but we see right there, that's the reason they do it. They are so confident in their ability to play it there on point B, and I mean, you can't fault them at all for that. They come up clutch with the hold, and now they've just given themselves such a huge advantage on Hollywood. I mean, stopping anyone before point two is just it's really, really difficult to do.
Yeah, and now let me ask you a question here, Shaga. Do you think that they were served better by sticking on that dive throughout first, or do you think they still could have burnt a little bit more time on first if they had switched to dive later?
I mean, I think they would have burned more time on first if they play a different comp there, because they to me, playing dive on point A is just like we're punting on this point. We are all in on point number 2, but it works out for them because they're able to come up. They get some ult charge out of it, so they if you know for a fact we're gonna play dive on point B, I don't hate that, because swapping your comp kind of wholesale after losing point A would set you back quite a bit, and so it works out for them. They have a plan, they stick to it, and it comes up clutch for them is now they've given themselves such a good shot. They're going to continue with the dive here on the attack, which I think is much more kind of defensible. Even on point A, I think it can work, especially when you see what Kybaid is playing. I'm not sure that this is going to work very well against the dive, to be honest.
Yeah, dive going to be able to get right up in their face and not have a whole lot to really deal with it. Kybaid has no Lucio to really get them in that maneuverability. Witty Weave on this Junkrat does have the traps, but Manic taken down early. That's a good start for the end of Kybaid. Looking here to hold pretty resiliently, and Michael's now kind of shining on this Reinhardt. I like this look so far.
No, I mean, there's definitely some possibility here, but they've got to be able to shut down these flankers consistently. They do it there on the first push, but it's going to be a lot of pressure on OG Hanzo on this McCree to keep Soul Reaver and Manic in check.
Yeah, I certainly have to agree. Hero taken dangerously low on that Brig, not necessarily receiving a lot of that healing right out of the gate, and in fact going to be cleaned up because of it. And now the rotation coming through from Boosted Boys makes them look a little bit vulnerable here, as they just have to let themselves either take the retreat or wait for their team, which is not an enviable position in either aspect.
No, and now Hero changing over to the Mercy. They're making a lot of swaps with Ninja going over to a Rhine of his own. This is a little bit strange to me. I like Manic going over to the far. That's a great swap when you know you got the Junkrat on the other side. Can really get a lot of value. So now the Mercy making quite a bit of sense in that regard.
The pieces have started to come into place for Boosted Boys. They're going to be doing it behind in terms of ultimates, but Mini Soul Reaver taken down by OG Hanzo. They need to really think about their pathing here as they proceed, and it's just going to be the backup now coming in for Boosted Boys. They don't even want to attempt this.
And the flankers on the side of Boosted Boys have just kind of been freelancing a little bit too much. They're getting caught out on their own, so Soul Reaver now going to go over to the McCree here to give him a little bit more team fighting power, but that's a great rip tire coming out from Witty Weave, dealing with the Mercy, no res available.
Yeah, Transcendence coming out from the side of Gregoles, keeping everybody up and online. The High Noon coming in from OG Hanzo gets taken down. The flashbang from Mini Soul Reaver even going to be ensuring that kill, and with that, Transcendence really helped the team push forward.
No, I mean, that was it. They just barrel straight into them with the trans healing everybody up. Didn't even need the Mercy in the fight for the Boosted Boys, and they get through point A. That's the big hurdle there. They were running low on time, as that continued to progress, but now they've got 3.5 minutes to get through basically to the end of point B, so in a very solid position now.
We were talking about Hollywood not being a great sniper map, but Mini Soul Reaver going to give it a shot, hopping onto that Widowmaker. The Grav Flux coming out from Ace Kebab, really putting that damage into SF Ninja's shield, but not so much into FS Ninja, as it's going to be taken down, but gets rezzed right back up. Michaels gets the Earth Shatter, not quite able to get the shield up and online from SF to block it. And with this, Mini Soul Reaver still doing very well on this Widow. Manic and Soul Reaver trying to get their own in this game. In fact, we'll be taking out both of the supports, and with that, Boosted Boys able to climb back.
No, I mean, Soul Reaver doing a lot of work on the Widow throughout that fight, gets the opening pick on OG Hanzo, takes the opposing Widow out of the fight, which is huge. From that defensive position, OG Hanzo has a great view of the entire fight as it plays out, but gets, loses the Widow duel early on, and now this is starting to get a little bit dicey for Kybaid.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing that Grav come online for Boosted Boys. They can really use that to their advantage. The Earth Shatter goes out from SF Ninja, doesn't find a whole lot though. But they will be taken down. No, however, SF Ninja not there to swing into the Grav. The Grav pretty much just holding the defenders in place, not going to be finding too much. That is crucial with that. Now the Genji Blade coming out in big, and with that they're going to be cleaning up the Widow, the Ashe, all gone out of this fight. Manic trying their best to clean up what they can, but SF Ninja has been getting the better taken of them. The grab onto cart, not really serving a whole lot from Ace Kebab. But with that, it looks like Kybaid's still in a good position to hold here, especially with these quicker respawns coming in. And Witty Weave on the Doomfist now, taking a little nap though.
Yeah, but Boosted Boys not willing to kind of give up on this fight just yet. They're going to back off a little bit and regroup, it seems like, because they've got their main tank back in the line of SF Ninja here in the fight once again.
Yeah, however, now Soul Reaver has dropped, and OG Hanzo trying to just be a pest on this Tracer once again, not quite finding it. In fact, gets cut in half by Manic. Now both DPS are going to be out of the fight for Kybaid, and that seems to be the go signal for Boosted Boys, especially with this grab going online. The Immortality Field going to be trying to save the tanks, and in fact, will SF Ninja going to be the tank to drop. And now the Genji Blade going to be answered by Manic, or going to be called out by Manic. With that, Manic looks like they have put the damage in that they need to. They just need to clean up these DPS who have now gotten onto the field back in respawn. Tracer going to be using the recall. It's all going to be on OG Hanzo to hold out until some reinforcements can come in. Looks like they're going to be able to do just that, as Mini Soul Reaver trying to get ahead and stem the flow as early as they can. But right now, Boosted Boys trying their best. Manic takes down Kane. The Earth Shatter coming in from the Reinhardt. SF Ninja taking them down. Gets held into the grab. Does not matter. SF Ninja able to swing as everybody has to push into him.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter if you get grabbed when everybody from Kybaid has to be on the cart at that point. They walk into the waiting arms of SF Ninja, and Boosted Boys able to close it out there on Hollywood, largely off the strength of that dive defense. I mean, that's what really set them up for success on this map, and we see why they made it their pick.
Yeah, I liked Boosted Boys on that On that defense. I wasn't as impressed with their offense. I was expecting a lot more of an explosive offense, but it looked like they struggled. They kind of doubted themselves for a bit. They were able to recompose, come back in, and eventually make it work.
Yeah, they didn't seem to have a great answer, at least early on, to Kybaid was bringing to the table with that kind of Ryan Zarya comp. It's a little bit out of vogue recently, but it threw Boosted Boys for a loop at the start. But they're able to get their feet up underneath them and finish them off at the end of the day. So they put themselves up 2-1 in the series. They're on match point now, so they've got to be feeling good from here on out. As Kybaid, with their backs against the wall, now have to try to bring this one back.
Yeah, the map selection will be going over to Kybaid, and I have received word that we're going to be going to Hanamura for our assault map. So, how do you think that plays here for either the Boosted Boys or for Kybaid?
I'm trying to think about what either of these teams have really shown us throughout the series that gives me an indication on this map in particular. And I do actually kind of favor the Boosted Boys a little bit. I think the dive could potentially be something that they go to for point B, especially. We'll just have to see what they want to go with. For Kybaid, though, I kind of just want them to go back to what they were doing on Route 66, bring Mongovich back in the series, get Road Warrior back in here, and I think they might have a little bit more success.
I actually don't have that much problem with Chemist being in the lineup, but I do agree Mongovich seemed a little bit more superior. I think that if Ace Kebab was, kind of the non-Sigma off tank, so if he was, the one designed to play Saria or Roadhog, which he seemed serviceable on, that was probably a good call, but you kind of got lucky that Boosted Boys picked Dive on Hollywood. That being said, you now know what's going to happen. It looks like the sub will come in. Mongovich going to be taken in for Ace Kebab instead now.
Yeah, I think this is a good choice for them. The Hanamura, I think, will favor the Sigma a little bit more once again, especially on the defensive side of things. And I'm excited to see him back in the series because he really impressed me early on, and now might be able to give a little bit of life over to Kybaid as they try to stave off defeat here. But yeah, an interesting swap now coming in for the side of Boosted Boys. They're taking out SF Ninja, which is interesting to me because we've seen him play all of the main tanks already. And unless Omega's coming in just to play like the Wrecking Ball or something weird like that, I'm not sure what the reasoning behind this is.
Yeah, I think that, each game you and I are going to have things where it's like, that swap doesn't make sense. And then we see it and we're like, all right, I guess it makes a little bit of sense.
I'm sure they have a reason for it, of course, but we are not kind of privy to kind of the behind the scenes goings on of these teams. We don't necessarily know what their strategies revolve around depending on the map, and we'll just have to see what Omega is bringing to the table. He's got big shoes to fill in my mind, because I think SF Ninja has been a bright spot for the side of the Boosted Boys throughout this series. And if they continue going with the Orisa or really any of the main tanks they've shown so far, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what he can do.
I certainly have to agree. As we're about to head into Hanamura here in just a few moments, keep in mind, folks, that the sides have swapped. So now Kybaid going to be on the blue team, Boosted Boys going to be on the red. So don't get confused if you're there at home specking and see, oh, hey, OG Hanzo's suddenly in the blue, or, Mini Soul Reapers suddenly in the red. It's intent to happen, but that does mean that Boosted Boys are going to get the first attack here on Hanamura. How do you think that fares for him, Shy Guy?
It gives them an opportunity now to come out and set the pace on this map and to really put Kybaid on the back foot. If they storm out of the gates and are able to finish the map with a relatively quick time, that puts so much pressure onto Kybaid, especially going into 2CP. You don't want to have to kind of put yourself in a situation where you need a really quick attack or anything like that. But on the other hand, I mean, Kybaid has the chance, if they come up with a defense, they can take that pressure off of them. So this first round going to be incredibly important just for kind of setting the tone for the rest.
And you have to keep in mind that this is going to be potential match point for Boosted Boys. So Kybaid, they're on the razor's edge. They can't lose anymore. They have to basically win 2 maps in a row now, and that's going to make you perhaps a little bit more stressed, a little bit more prone to reacting impulsively. I think that Boosted Boys, again, in the favorable position, obviously because of their score up.
No, for sure. They've got some wiggle room to work with, which is where you always want to be in these situations. So, it might mean that they can play a little bit looser in this situation. They can experiment with some things. They can bring in Omega. They can change up their comp a little bit here. So we'll just have to see what their plan is here in just a minute as they start out on the attack. Boosted Boys going to be on the defense, and with Mongovic back in the lineup, I totally expect to just see the Orisa Sigma tank line once again. But I'm curious to see where their DPS and support picks are.
It's going to be interesting as we do have the countdown starting here in just a few seconds. We're going to be seeing what the options are.
Yeah, I like this from Kybaid. At least what they're showing us right now. They're rolling out a spawn with the Ashe Torbjorn, which on Hanamura I think works quite well. You've got a lot of good sight lines to work with poking. The turret can get quite a bit of value on this point, and I'm pretty happy with what we are seeing from them on the defense.
Oh yeah, most assuredly. I certainly have to say, I wonder if Boosted Boys are going to be kind of, running these dive tanks once again. If so, it really does bring up the question of why Omega.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's on the Winston here, which, I mean, we did see out of SF earlier in the series, so not sure exactly what the reasoning is just yet, but they're sticking with the dive. It works great for them on Hollywood at times, so we'll see if they can make it work here on Hanamura as they just get through the choke pretty cleanly. No contest until Greyloss going down to Witty Weep.
Yeah, as we do see these first few fights go underway, I'm going to need a little bit of a moment here, Shy Guys, to get some technical issues resolved.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take it away for the time being, as right now Witty Weep continuing to find some purchase with the Ashe changing over from the Genji we saw earlier on in the series, now picking up the hit scan roll, able to find a couple of early picks, delaying this push coming through from the Boosted Boys. As they are holding strong on the defense for right now, and Boosted Boys just need to avoid losing any more members early on, despite they used the nano boost very early to try and get in here. They're able to take down Michaels. The Orisa gone is pretty troublesome for the side of Kybaid, and now we've just got this fight breaking down on the point. The Torb trying to bring it back, and Witty Weep chimes in for another.
Yeah, Witty Weep gonna be looking good so far. The defense was looking a little anemic, but they've managed to pull it back. It's just gonna be a few members left standing for now the side of Boosted Boys, but they're gonna be dealt with in rather quick fashion, I imagine.
Yeah, the dive not working out so far. Kybaid or Boosted Boys, they spend a lot of time trying to kind of posture for position and poke in and around, but they just can't even get anything going. They just get shut down completely. They lose picks early on in the fight and can never swing it back in their favor. And now they're changing up the comp a little bit. Respect going over to the Sigma. Now we've got a little bit of a mismatched composition.
Yeah, this is going to be looking like a hodgepodge of characters as we get moving forward. Witty Weep taking down Mini Soul Reaver, however. It's going to make the attackers stop a little bit of a stutter step as we go ahead. OG Hanzo taking a nap. That Swedish engineer might get some well-deserved rest here as this defense of Kybaid continues to hold strong. The dive from Omega tries to come in, gets flung across the map, though.
And now, I mean, Boosted Boys just look out of sorts at this point. They're very separated on this attack. They keep trying to push in and around, but Witty Weave and OG Hanzo laying in so much damage from afar that they can't even rotate effectively. This is becoming very, very dicey now for Boosted Boys.
It really is. Kybaid in a very good spot. They're going to have a lot of ultimates online. What might try to happen is Manic tries to pull out that Dragon Blade to make a huge change up here, but even if you do, you have the Immortality Field, you have the Torbjorn Molten Core, a lot to deal with, as now this rotation starts to come through for Boosted Boys. They just want this optimal position. Primal Rage coming in from Omega just to buy the space, and Manic taken down early means that
he gets nothing.
Yeah, not going to find anything.
Neither of them. I mean, they both just get completely shut down there. Manic gonna be res back into the fight and unleash the blade.
Yeah, now he's going to be looking for it. Finds two. That might have been crucial here moving forward. Bob going to be thrown out onto the field, but Witty Weeb not going to be able to do much with it. Bob quickly dealt with just putting a shield in front of him.
And they barely get it across the line there. Boosted Boys, they take it down to the wire. It's going to go into overtime before the cap finally comes through, but they are able to do it off the back of that brilliant blade coming in from Manic. And despite some troubles, they get through, and now they swap back over to the Orisa Sigma, so they're on something a little bit more familiar. But you know they are still running with Omega on the tank or on that main tank spot, so we'll see what kind of synergy they can bring to the table if this team can kind of coordinate with those halts.
Yeah, the Molten Core going to be coming in. OG Hanzo dashing in from behind the halt, pulling the rest of the team. Manic going to be the only one who doesn't make it out alive because of that magma. And with this, Kybaid looked pretty good for this defense. The res does go on to Mini Soul Reaver, but a little bit questionable since they are still missing that Genji. Not going to be able to get him a res back up and online. And Mogovic just proving to be an absolute terror in this hallway, making the attention of Boosted Boys forced to be split.
Yeah, for sure, but now I'm going to back off to the rest of the team, to the safety of the team for a little bit. No ultimates on the side of Kybaid at this point, so they are going into this next fight at a little bit of a disadvantage, but nothing really too worrying on the other side. Just respect with that Gravitic Flux, the main worry.
Now, Witty Weeb going to be getting an early headshot onto Mini Soul Reaver, not going to be able to build up that Bob as much as they might like, and does force out the Mercy res as well. A lot of these reses being used preemptively, but Mini Soul Reaver dropped into the grave as soon as they were raised out of it. Manic taken down as well. Soul Reaver going on a little bit of, Witty Weeb going on a little bit of a tear with this Ashe right now.
Yeah, I'm now just kind of questioning, like, why have we not seen this before in this series? He's been playing the Genji all day, and the results have been kind of mixed. It hasn't been bad by any means, Witty Weeb, but his Ashe so far has just been absolutely disgusting, shutting down the Boosted Boys at every turn, and really coming up clutch here on Hanamura. They're now whittling this time back down to a minute.
Yeah, they've got it down below a minute, which is a crucial time. The Halt trying to come in, pull some of those units off the high ground, but Bob comes in from Witty Weeb, who then takes down Soul Reaver, able to build up that charge once again. Manic's going to be diving onto Witty Weeb, but gets taken down by a coach gun shot to the gut. And with this now, Kybaid in a very good spot, one push left.
And the problem right now, I mean, it seems like for Boosted Boys, Mini Soul Reaver just can't seem to win this duel at all. Witty Weeb just has his number, and there's no way to dive on top of him. I mean, Manic can't do it on his own when the pocket is coming through from Chemist. So they don't seem to have an answer for Witty Weeb right now, but they need to find one quick, because this is the last opportunity now for Boosted Boys.
It's certainly going to be crucial, and Bob going in just to get on to point. Mini Soul Reaver going to be buying that space. The Molten Core coming out, Mongovic as well, lifting them up, dropping them right back on. And Bob doing a little bit of work, getting more kills than the rest of the Boosted Boys roster, but with that, not going to be enough. Overtime's going to tick down, and no progress made for the Boosted Boys.
Yeah, when Bob is the only one doing anything, that is not a great sign for the side of Boosted Boys, and they just get completely shut down on this attack on Hanamura, save for one fight on point A where Manic clutched it out with the blade. They got absolutely nothing going. It was all Kybaid, and that is exactly what they needed with their backs against the wall. This is a do or die situation for them, and they're doing it.
Yeah, Kybaid now looking very favorable to at least draw this, and I think you're going to be content with that if you're on the side of Kybaid. You would have to feel pretty confident that you can get this first point.
Yeah, if you wind up losing this map at that point, it's a disaster completely. But Boosted Boys, they're going for it. They're going all in. They want to win this series here and now.
Yeah.
They're going for the Bastion strat on the defense, and it's unconventional. It might not be optimal, but it definitely forces Kybaid to change their approach here. You can't just play this like a normal round of attack on Hanamura. You have to alter how you come into the point in the first place.
Yeah, but if Weeweeb's able to get this teleporter up online, they could rotate just directly onto point, making Soul Reaver have to entirely relocate. Might be crippling for this composition as it goes forward. But Manic already trying to get in that damage with those rockets, already putting the pressure onto Kybaid, trying to get them to make some sort of mistake. But already it looks like Kybaid's taken some losses. With that, it's not looking great. It looks like an early first point win. Kane, in fact, is going to be doing the honorable thing and jumping off the cliff.
Yeah, unfortunately, they use the teleporter, but they don't use it in a way that actually disrupts the Bastion at all. They normally, I like that TP up to the high ground to kind of bypass the choke point, but all it did was TP you right into the line of sight of Soul Reaver. And he melts them down, and they're going to continue to try for this, but I want them to go straight to the point. Like, that, I think, is the better option here with MT.
Well, on the plus side, you know that Weeweeb is going to eventually build up that proton barrier and let them just get pulled out from the ground with Manic just taking them down a couple rockets to the chest. Early on, that is exactly what you need in this fight. Manic still building up that ult charge, and now it just looks like Kybaid having to take a little bit more time for their Symmetra to get online.
Yeah, they haven't been able to quite get into the right position so far, as Manic really disrupting them with this Pharah, but now the TP comes down, they're onto the point, everybody's in cleanly.
Everybody in except OG Hanzo on this Echo, and the Sim turrets have gone up. The Rocket Barrage coming in though, however, to match, takes down the Immortality Field, but not able to take down much else. Weeweeb gonna be dropping that Proton Shield that may have been a little bit of a mistake, as the Bash is now coming in, ready to fire some shells, has to heal himself up though, can't really shoot past this barrier, not really willing to push past it either. However, Weeweeb does peek out just a bit and allows that shell to clip them with this. It now looks like the defense has managed to hold for the time being, but they can't do that for many more pushes.
No, but the overstep from Weeweeb there turns out to be crucial. That's their main source of damage in the team fight, just gone in an instant for stepping outside of the safety of the shield. And now this defense starting to come online really for the Boosted Boys, and no easy answers for Kybaid. They haven't been able to crack it just yet. Now they briefly gave up on the Sim going over to Tracer, but Weeweeb gonna try it one more time at least.
Yeah, and this is so far so good for the Boosted Boys, but once again, the teleport directly onto point. The amplification window coming in, going to provide a lot of damage, and the Orisa not able to hold themselves up. Omega going to be taking the fall, and now something needs to happen for the defense. They need to get explosive here, but they're not going to. They're going to peter out just a little bit as that Baptiste gets brought back online. Sound barrier now going to be invested from a Chemist. OG Hanzo taken down, but it might not be enough, as now it's just bare bones crew for Boosted Boys. In fact, they're going to lose the points.
Okay, so we're not done here. At the very least, we're going to another map as Kybaid. Make sure they're going to get at least the draw here on Hanamura, but they crack through point A. Is Soul Reaver actually going to keep playing the Bastion? I mean, he's got the tank mode ready to go, so we'll see if he keeps it going after using some of these ultimates, but that would be a very interesting way to play this.
Yeah, you just have to hope, if you're on the side of Boosted Boys, that you don't have to run into that Sim wall, which, given enough time, they eventually will, but Weeweeb still has about 10% to build up to it. And that Sim not able to build up that ult charge too quickly. They're going to teleport directly onto point.
The point!
Really putting that pressure, but nobody's there. That's so unfortunate. Kybaid able to just teleport directly onto point, broke the ankles.
The TP, it gets them up to that kind of overhang over the point, and they all just pile in. And with the Bastion and the Pharah as your DPS duo, there's no one to drop down. Like, if the tanks leave, they just leave the Bastion completely unattended. but someone has to do it there, and it just doesn't happen for Boosted Boys. They try to go for the cheeky defensive strat, and it doesn't quite pay off for them, as now the series gets evened up after Hanamura. Kybaid answering back, and now this is going the distance.
Yeah, this really is going to be going the full shebang. We're going 5. Not as long as if we had seen a draw there. We potentially had the chance for, I believe it would have been like 6 maps if we had to go to best or the first to 3. But with that, now it's going to be the control map up next. And Shy Guy, we saw when it was a control map, Boosted Boys looked a little bit favorable on it. Do you think we can expect that moving forward?
I would hope so, or I mean, I would think so. Rather, I don't really have a preference at this point in the series, but I'm a little bit worried by what we just saw out of that last series for 2 reasons, or that last map for 2 reasons. One, Boosted Boys got a little bit desperate there towards the end, going to kind of the Bastion comp on the defense. You could argue that they kind of needed to do something like that. But also Witty Weeb came alive on the Ashe. And if Kybaid keeps going to that, I think they might have this in the bag.
We'll certainly have to find out. We're going to be heading into Lijiang Tower next, but stick around. We're going to keep you on the edge of your seats. We're going to be going to a quick break here. Kybaid, Boosted Boys, 2 apiece. Who's going to win it? Find out after the break. Hello and welcome back to GitGud EU Console Edition. We're in week 4. Kybaid versus Boosted Boys. We're back in with the action-packed conclusion. We're going to be taking it on to Lijiang Tower to decide who's going to be taking this 2-2 map match with your casting entertainment tonight. I'm going to be Sir Waltham, joined by Shy Guy once again. Shy Guy, we just saw some intense games going forward. What do you expect out of Lijiang?
I don't even know at this point, to be totally honest. Like, I mean, it feels just so completely up in the air. The swings in this series have been really intense. I mean, at every point, it is started to feel like things are slipping away from Kybaid, but they keep clawing it back. And they did it again there on Hanamura a lot on that map, off of the heroics of Witty Weeb going over to the Ashe for the first time in this series and just popping off completely. I mean, that was absolutely.
Yeah, now we're going to be leaning a little bit more towards that Lijiang Tower. We are going to be having a substitution in Money Soul Reaper going to be taken out. The Ashe player we've been seeing pretty consistently from the Boosted Boys going to be popped in for Av Resignations, as I'm calling them. But do you think that makes a big impact here, Shy Guy, considering that Boosted Boys just haven't seemed superior in the Ashe matchup so far?
Yeah, I mean, Soul Reaper was just getting bodied there on Hanamura. It was not even close. So maybe they don't think they can handle that matchup in general and want to swap to someone who might have a slightly different hero pool. We'll just have to see what Av is kind of bringing to the table here. We don't know a ton about the player themselves, as this is their first appearance in the series, listed as both a hit scan and projectile player, with Hanzo being their favorite pick. So we'll just have to find out what they're going to roll out with. The Lijiang Tower, though, I think probably leans a little bit in the direction of the Boosted Boys. They can get Manic back on that Pharah.
Yeah,
that has just been lights out throughout this series. I think he's a real bright spot for the team whenever he can play that pick in particular. And as we kick things off here on Gardens, it's going to be prime opportunity for it.
Yeah, and a little bit of a breath of relief from me as we see SF Ninja coming back into the fray. Going to be Omega who gets taken out. So it's Respect and SF Ninja back on this roster. I liked this tank combination before. I'm glad to see them back together. However, as we look ahead, we're seeing I don't know if we're seeing some serious comps or not yet, Shy Guy.
I mean, Boosted Boys playing the dive would not surprise me at all, especially here on Gardens. Like, this is a point where dive definitely has its place. It might be a little bit harder to work in on the other points of Lijiang, but here it definitely makes a lot of sense that they've got Av in to play the Tracer, it seems like, at least for this first point. But Kybaid, they might just be anticipating this. They've got the Roadhog in the lineup from Mongovich, so there's an opportunity to shut this down.
There certainly will be. Manic going to be on this far once again, just trying to squeeze out some positioning. Going to be seeing the rotation come in from Kybaid through that interior area, really restricting the sight lines of Manic. It looks like Kybaid is really getting to the adaptation of this team. Mongovic going to be going for the hook, misses it, and now that's going to be a little bit of the go signal for Boosted Boys to get aggressive, really get up in the face here. Now they don't have to worry about that insta-kill potential coming in. But the damage going to be coming in thick. Witty Weep taken down by Manic, but OG Hanzo trying to land this damage, misses the flashbang, not able to clean up, and now this fight's getting a little bit brawly, even though we got Dive on the field. Nations trying to come on to the point, really trying to get those supports focused out, but it's going to be witnessing Hero Epic's Sparta kick Kane the Snowman into the pond. And the Diva Bomb already coming out from Respect, not going to be necessary as Manic just drops the Rocket Barrage.
And so quick on that ultimate, the charge building up incredibly fast, and that's going to be the first fight going over to the Boosted Boys. A great start for them. They're playing the map really well, using the environmental kills. They get 2 of them in that first fight, and now they take control, and they force a swap. Witty Weep done with the Ash, going over to the Soldier 76. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind that necessarily is, but we'll see if he can make that one work.
Certainly have to find out. And SF Ninja getting brought dangerously low, but the push not going to be able to be capitalized upon by Kybaid. Manic taking down the Immortality field, puts them at a little bit of an advantage here, but losing their Winston certainly does not. The sound barrier coming out from Hero Epics, and the Rocket Barrage once again coming in clean. The Diva providing that cover for Manic as they just pry that damage in.
Again? Manic? How? You had it at the end of the last fight. It wasn't even like you used it halfway through and then built up another 40%. No, you were just so far away from it. And get there again, I'm blown away by what he's been able to do so far on this map, really putting Boosted Boys on his back. And, now this is going to be difficult.
Oh no! Gonna be rewinding right into his own pulse bomb. You hate to see it. Manic might have to clutch it back once again with another Rocket Barrage. He's almost 80% there. The damage trying to come in from Witty Weep through this amplification field, not going to be finding it quite, however. Manic dropping the Rocket Barrage, only finds one before Witty Weep focuses them down with that Tac Visor. Respect dropping the Diva Bomb, catches out the support in Kane the Snowman. And it looks alike, despite some early losses, Boosted Boys able to maintain, able to hold here. That Valkyrie from Gregor is going to be keeping everybody alive as it needs to. Av getting the time to get back onto the field, trying to focus around this pit, or the pool area, and really, nobody going to be dealing with them. In fact, forcing out the supercharger from Michaels. This is looking so good for the Boosted Boys. They haven't even given up the point yet.
It doesn't look like they're going to. They send OG Hanzo packing. Mongovic cannot do anything on his lonesome, and that's a clean 100-0 for Boosted Boys. Manic with 3 barrages in 3 fights. Just an unreal performance on the far eye, coming up clutch for Boosted Boys, is now they're one sub-map away from the victory here.
Yeah, I think that the swap coming in from Witty Weeb was actually pretty crucial. Manic was able to build up without having to worry about that Ash, continually forcing them down without having to worry about a Bob who's just going to beam you as you're just a floating pinata. So really the fact that it took 3 ultimates for that soldier to finally get Tac Visor and deal with the Pharah, incredibly efficient from Manic and the entire Boosted Boys squad.
Yes, but now they're going to have to change things up a little bit here as we head over to Night Market, going for the Ryan Zarya DPS duo. Don't feel like they can run the dive here, but they're going to have to try to push into Kybaid as they use the TP to get early point presence.
And the double turns coming out from Kybaid really putting down that oppressive force, but it's going to be Michaels who really ends up getting a large amount of the kills. With that, the backup's going to be taken from Boosted Boys. They're lucky they didn't lose the Pharah with that sleep dart, though.
Yeah, this is going to be so hard for the front line of Boosted Boys in the rest of this map. Pushing in with only 1 shield, it's always going to get melted down, and Manic going to have to put a lot on his shoulders. He gets taken out by the orb there, but back into it with the res.
Yeah, and the shield from Reinhardt had to take a lot of damage just from getting that res online, allowing it to go through. And this still does not seem like a winnable fight for the side of Boosted Boys. They need to regroup, kind of recollect themselves, and just get going. But it's gonna be on Manic, who tries to get that damage and in fact takes down a Witty Weeb. And in the back line, it looks like this far is gonna be the most proficient, trying to burn down that turret. In fact, it will be Respect co-oping with them to get stunned down. It looked like Manic was about to take a little bit of a dip off that Accretion Blade, or off that Accretion Rock rather. And now the Proton Barrier coming in. Manic drops the Rocket Barrage but gets slept mid-barrage. That is so crucial. Not able to be cleaned up though, as the power and the force just is not there from Kybaid. And now it looks like finally Boosted Boy's gonna swing back with some force.
No, they will be able to retake here, which is absolutely crucial. Like they could not afford to let that continue ticking up and keep having to push into the kind of bunkery setup that we were seeing out from Kybaid. Now things swap back to their favor. Manic's going to have all these angles to work with to lay in rockets as the entry comes through. And, you know, now things start to be much more, I guess, even in terms of the comps and how they're going to play out.
We'll certainly see the Supercharger going to be coming down on the line. The Earth Shatter trying to come out from Ninja, doesn't find a whole lot, though Ninja does get stunned out. Mongovich trying to throw in that grab flux, not really finding a whole lot with it, just going to be getting the one Ana with it, but enough to win the fight. Is it gonna be? In fact, it seems it will. The Mercy trying to help out just their lone Zarya hero. Epic's going to be taking a late death on point.
No, and I mean that's exactly what you want to be doing as the boosted, or as Kybaid here. You want to be burning down that shield coming out from SF Ninja. Now he's going over to the Orisa of his own here. Can't really withstand in these fights on the Reinhardt. Just hasn't been able to hold up to the focus coming out from Kybaid.
As we see Manic once again so far to that Rocket Barrage, so close rather. The Dragon's going to be coming out, the combo coming in. Manic does now have that Rocket Barrage online. There is no Immortality Field. They're going to drop it. A lot of Kinetic Grasp going to be caught. Manic getting caught once again in the throes of a Sleep Dart. Kane the Snowman not able to deal the damage that is necessary for that Pharah. And now the point flips once again for Boosted Boys, but they pretty much have to hold it solid here.
Yeah, and I understand what Kybaid was trying to do there. They wanted to keep fighting. They used the sound barrier to try and survive the grab, but they still lose out on the fight. And I would have rather just see them like give it up, force out ultimates, and then come back in with a loaded war chest. But now they're gonna have to push in aggressively. They don't have OG Hanzo, so they might just be backing off a little bit for right now.
Can't back off fast enough as Witty Weeb takes an arrow to the forehead, critical to even the most skilled of McCree players. But with that, it looks like now Boosted Boys just trying to get a little bit of poke damage.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, Manic building up to another barrage. The Dragons are ready for Av. We'll see what he can do with it, but that's a nice opening.
Respect kills himself with the right click with Zarya burst coming in. Witty Weeb does receive the nano boost, but not able to deal a whole lot with it. Has that high noon online. Might be looking for it, but not going to be investing it just yet. They know that they might have this kind of held in their own hands, and with that, going to be investing it as the wraparound comes in. The contest has to come in. Witty Weeb capitalizes on it. Supercharger down, locking the point from Michaels. And with that, it looks like this is all going in favor of Kybaid. Looks like we're going to be at an even 1-1.
Do it. Let's go all the way here. It's going to come down to Control Center. And to be honest, that seems like it might favor Kybaid a little bit, especially given what we've seen throughout this map. I mean, Manic has been putting Boosted Boys on his back, but not going to be able to play the Pharah here. You just cannot get the same kind of value on this enclosed space, so gonna have to go over to the Mei. And just looking at the comps that we're seeing, I really like what Kybaid's doing. Breaking out the Junkrat, I've seen this a lot on this point recently. It can be so deadly, but going to have to be dealing with the Brawl on the other side. This is going to be really interesting to see how this plays out.
As well, Respect going to be getting a lot of charge from Witty Weeb potentially here. But I really like the adaptation that has been coming in from Kybaid. We'll see if they can continue it. Witty Weeb going to be getting some early damage with that Junkrat. Getting that tire up early can be absolutely crucial. Already a third of the way. Gregula is going to be healing them up, but it's going to come at its own cost of resource. SF Ninja having to play this front line, and the point already being possessed by Boosted Boys, but that might not be enough. They need to come out and secure this fight. The Immortality Field from Chemist ensures that it won't be there as this point goes online. Michael's getting caught out by that Mei wall. Excellently done, excellently executed by Manic. And with this, now the collapse comes in. Kybaid on the back foot. They look like they're not going to be able to pull back fast enough.
Yeah, and I mean, most of that fight just kind of comes off the back of the fact that Boosted Boys are able to get to the point first. They've got Hero playing the Lucio, and they take position. They control the kind of main choke point, the entry on there with the Mei walls. So a great start for them. Now they're going to have the Coalescence to kick things off.
Coalescence does come out. Anti-nade to help keep the team a little bit more vulnerable for the side of Kybaid. And with that, Witty Weave does find one. They're going to be taken out of this fight. However, Boosted Boys continue to drive forward. Those first few kills didn't really matter. Boosted Boys had it under lock.
And they don't even have to really use a whole lot. It's just the Coalescence versus the Blizzard and the Riptire on the other side. I mean, this is looking beautiful for Boosted Boys. They are in so much control right now. They force swaps. Kybaid, this is now or never.
Sort of tries to come out, but an excellent block from Mongovic. They get locked down by a grab. Mongovic has that nano boost, but not able to really get a lot of capitalization off of it because they're just locked into place. However, it's not enough to prevent the side of Boosted Boys from hemorrhaging losses. Witty Weave on that McCree. Excellent crack shot, and with that, Kybaid looks good to flip this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's their saving grace, and they do it quickly enough that they might even have an opportunity. Like, if they lose a fight, they'll be able to get back in here. So they needed that desperately, and despite the ultimates committed by Boosted Boys, Kybaid, the ones coming out on top, and now they got some of their own coming online. Mongovic with that Shatter. They'll have Witty Weave's High Noon in just a second. So an opportunity to keep holding, but a lot of firepower coming in from Boosted Boys.
Yeah, man, I'm going to be initiating with that Mei Blizzard. The Earth Shatter comes out from Mongovic, but he gets frozen. The cleanup not there. I also believe it got blocked. High Noon now coming out from Witty Weave. The both ults not finding anything that is so crucial for this fight. Boosted Boys now looking so good. They even hold on to the High Noon of their own.
Yeah, I mean, the Blizzard and the Sound Barrier just too much to handle for Kybaid, and now this is their last opportunity. They got to make it happen now. They don't have ults just yet, about to be at the Nano, but Mongovic gets caught off.
It gets caught off and absolutely pinned. No shield to block that Earth Shatter. The Nano does go on to the Zarya. OG Hanzo tries to make something happen with the Blizzard, however, not enough. Nobody gets caught out by it. Witty Weave, the only one sectioned off by the wall. There is somebody contesting point right now, however. It looks like it's going to be Chemist on that Lucio, dropping the Sound Barrier just to keep himself alive. Enough time for the team to perhaps get the point, but the lockdown from the Zarya ensures that this goes over to the Boosted Boys. And with that 3-2, Boosted Boys takes this in the most competitive map of the day so far.
Yeah, it goes down to the wire there at the end. Kybaid almost come up with the win, but they just can't quite close it out there on Control Center. Manic, just a hero for Boosted Boys there on that final map. First on the Pharah of Gardens, and then picking up the Mei for that final closing out map. And you know, so good throughout the series. This was so competitive. I'm incredibly happy with how this one played out. Both these teams brought their A game today, and it was great to watch.
Yeah, I think that both of these teams really deserve all the praise we can give them. End of the day, it's only going to be Boosted Boys walking away with the victory, but I definitely think Kybaid not going to be in the worst of spots. They're going to have, you know, something to look back on, some good spots, some bad spots, and if you're looking to improve as a team, I think that's really what you need.
Yeah, they've definitely got things that they can work on coming out of this series. I mean, they were a little bit messy at times throughout, but ultimately, I was impressed with what they brought to the table individually. I mean, I thought Weeb and Mongovic were stellar all the way through the series, and they you know, only come up short a little bit there. So a lot to be happy with for them as well. But Boosted Boys, of course, getting the win. They'll be celebrating here tonight, and a well-earned victory.
Yeah, you have to think so. However, for our games in the EU console region, that is going to be it. We want to thank you guys for tuning in, supporting the team, supporting us, and supporting GG. Want to wish you guys a great night, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is. Stay safe out there, everybody. Thank you for joining us.